Hello, welcome to Mary, the Woman versus the Myth, a documentary series that uncovers the historical and biblical truth about Mary of Nazareth, far from the later traditions, legends, and dogmas that reshaped her image over the centuries. Chapter 3: The Woman Clothed with the Sun, Christmas, and the Birth of Jesus. What if the date of Jesus' birth were not an unsolvable mystery, but rather a story that has been poorly told? Every year, millions celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December, yet the Gospels never mention that date. This leads to an inevitable question: where does Christmas really come from? And what do the Bible, astronomy, and the earliest Christians actually say about it? Who is the woman clothed with the sun? And what do the symbols described in Revelation chapter 12 represent? Today, Scripture, history, the Church Fathers, and modern science come together to address a question few dare to examine with real rigor. When was Jesus of Nazareth truly born? And what is the relationship between the woman clothed with the sun, Mary, and the birth of the Messiah? Imagine for a moment that the date millions of people celebrate as Christmas is not the actual date of Jesus' birth. Could it be that the Bible, the heavens, and ancient history have left us far more precise clues? This documentary does not retell a Christmas myth. It takes us back to the historical and astronomical origins of the arrival of the Messiah. This investigation begins with Revelation chapter 12, the woman clothed with the sun. From the earliest times, the heavens were understood as divine language. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 declares that the lights in the sky were created for signs, for appointed times, and to mark significant events. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. For centuries, this passage has been read almost exclusively in theological or symbolic terms. But what if it is also astronomical? Biblical scholar Michael Heiser, an expert in Semitic languages and ancient biblical worldview, explains that Revelation chapter 12 uses technical celestial language, not vague poetry. According to Heiser, the text precisely describes the sun clothing the constellation Virgo, the moon positioned beneath her feet, and a specific configuration visible in the real sky. This is not an arbitrary allegory. It is a concrete celestial sign. The heavens do not rule humanity. The heavens point to what God rules. Psalm 19 declares that the heavens declare the glory of God, and the Apostle Paul, in Romans chapter 10, quotes that same psalm to make a striking claim. Their voice has gone out to all the earth. According to Michael Heiser, there is something fundamental here that nearly all scholars recognize. The woman is not only Mary, but Mary is not absent either. The primary figure is Israel, the so-called Virgin Zion, the faithful people from whom the promised Messiah is born. The 12 stars directly evoke the 12 tribes, an image deeply rooted in Genesis, Jewish literature, Philo, Josephus, and rabbinic tradition. For a first-century Jew, a woman crowned with stars was not a strange invention. It was Israel personified. Mary is the concrete historical point where that collective promise becomes flesh. Yet Revelation does not stop at theology. It adds precise astronomical details: sun, moon, and stars. Heiser then takes a crucial step by reading the text through the lens of ancient astronomy. The description aligns perfectly with the constellation Virgo, the Virgin, located along the ecliptic, the band of the sky through which the sun, moon, and planets move. In ancient technical language, to be clothed with the sun means the sun is inside the body of the constellation, not merely nearby. To have the moon under her feet means that at the same time, the moon is positioned precisely at the lower portion of Virgo, just above the ecliptic. This detail is critical because it does not happen every day or even every month. In fact, it occurs only during a very brief period within an extremely narrow window of time. Psalm 19 in Hebrew says that their line goes out through all the earth. The word used can refer to a drawn line, and many scholars associate it with the line of the ecliptic. The Greek version quoted by Paul translates that line as a voice. The result is striking. The line along which the sun, moon, and planets travel is presented as a voice proclaiming something to all nations, not personal horoscopes or individual destinies. According to Heiser, Paul has precisely this kind of cosmic announcement in mind, and Revelation chapter 12 gives us the full scene. But the woman is not alone. Revelation chapter 12 introduces the great antagonist, the red dragon. In Scripture, the dragon is associated with Leviathan, chaos, and forces opposed to divine order. Heiser reviews academic proposals identifying the dragon with ancient constellations visible near Virgo. For an astronomer of the ancient world, seeing the Virgin, the sun, the moon, and a nearby serpent-like figure would have reinforced the idea of a cosmic battle surrounding the birth of a king, the one who rules the nations with a rod of iron, a direct echo of Psalm 2, the messianic psalm applied to Jesus in the New Testament. If Revelation chapter 12 describes a real alignment, then the birth of Jesus occurred within that extremely narrow annual window when the sun clothes Virgo and the moon passes precisely beneath her feet. How can such a date be retrocalculated? This approach is neither mystical nor arbitrary. The analysis combines three solid elements. First, the snapshot of the sky, described in Revelation chapter 12. Second, historical data, the reign of Augustus, the chronology of Jesus' ministry, and a critical reassessment of the date of Herod's death, which some scholars place in the year 1 before Christ rather than 4. Third, the Star of Bethlehem, most likely Jupiter, moving in retrograde motion within that same celestial framework. Revelation chapter 12 is not a horoscope. It is a mosaic of celestial signs preserved in symbolic language with astronomical precision, an echo of the sky on a specific night that announced the birth of the Messiah. Up to this point, the birth of Jesus has been examined through biblical text, history, and astronomy, following the work of scholars such as Michael Heiser. But there is another perspective, equally provocative, that attempts to go even further. This researcher does not only ask when Jesus was born, but at what exact hour, during which biblical feast, and under which precise celestial signs. His name is Michael Rood, and his thesis is direct, uncomfortable, and uncompromising. Jesus was not born at Christmas. For Michael Rood, the Bible is not a collection of disconnected stories. It is one coherent narrative, from Genesis to Revelation. And that story, he argues, is written both in Scripture and in the heavens. Rood immediately connects prophecy with biblical astronomy. He begins by quoting the prophet Malachi, who speaks of the Sun of Righteousness, rising with healing in its wings, an image he sees as not merely poetic, but cosmic, and one that he links to Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew. He then returns to the beginning. From Genesis to Revelation, the Bible is a single story, the story of the Messiah. And that story, Rood says, is written not only in the Scriptures, but also in the sky. He cites Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, where God places the heavenly lights as signs and appointed times, not merely for climatic seasons, but for Moedim, the appointed feasts of the Lord that function as a prophetic clock. He denounces modern horoscope-based astrology and contrasts it with what he calls God's prophetic timepiece: constellations, stars, and planets as signals of God's plan, not of personal destiny. Rood reads Revelation chapter 12, a woman clothed with the sun, the new moon under her feet, a crown of 12 stars, pregnant and about to give birth to a son who will rule with a rod of iron. Astronomically, he identifies the woman with the constellation Virgo, Betula in Hebrew, which from antiquity symbolizes the Virgin Mother. The crown of 12 stars is associated with the constellation Leo above her head, the Lion of Judah, and theologically with the 12 tribes of Israel. The woman represents faithful Israel, and, concretely, Miriam, Mary, who brings the Messianic King into the world. He then anchors the vision in historical context, the 25th year of the reign of Caesar Augustus, when an imperial registration required people to return to their ancestral towns. Rood places this moment on Thursday, the 12th of September in the year 3 before Christ, at sunset, using correlations between the Hebrew calendar and the Julian calendar. He describes the sky over the land of Israel just after sunset. A thin new moon, about 4% illuminated, appears roughly 7 degrees above the horizon beneath the feet of Virgo. The sun is clothing the woman, meaning it is inside the body of the constellation, precisely where a child would be carried in the womb. Above her head stands Leo with the royal star Hamelech, Regulus. At that same moment, the planet Sedek, Jupiter, the righteous one, enters conjunction with Regulus between the legs of Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. At the same time, the new moon marks the beginning of Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets, the feast of which no one knows the exact day or hour until the moon is seen. 15 days after that sign in the sky and the sounding of the trumpets comes the feast that Rood identifies as the true time of Jesus' birth. 15 days after Yom Teruah is Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. Rood asserts that Miriam gives birth to the Messiah on the first day of Sukkot, a great festival Sabbath. He connects this theologically with John chapter 1. The Word became flesh and tabernacled among us, seeing the feast itself as an announcement of the Incarnation. His conclusion is clear. Jesus was not born on the 25th of December, but in the autumn of the year 3 before Christ, during Tabernacles, following a great astronomical sign on Yom Teruah. What about the wise men? For Michael Rood, they were not 3 kings, but a body of Jewish astronomers trained by Daniel in Babylon. Daniel, he reminds us, was placed over the wise men and astronomers of Babylon for more than 60 years, and many of those sages were Jews who remained after the exile. Gabriel, he argues, gave Daniel sealed revelations with time parameters concerning the coming of the Messiah. Daniel, wealthy through imperial favor and without descendants, would have entrusted his treasure to generations of Jewish astronomers with instructions to deliver it to the expected king when the signs appeared in the heavens. This explains the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, not as an improvised gesture, but as a carefully preserved prophetic inheritance. Rood does not look only at the sky. He also presses the text of Luke to fit the chronology. He cites Luke chapter 2, where 40 days after the birth, Mary must go to the temple for purification according to Leviticus chapter 12. Rood calculates this as Monday, the 4th of November in the year 3 before Christ, the 24th day of the 8th Hebrew month. There, they offer the sacrifice of the poor, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, indicating that they have not yet received the treasure of the astronomers. During that visit, Simeon and Anna prophetically confirm the identity of the child. Luke then summarizes that when everything was completed according to the Torah, they returned to Nazareth, a summary that Rude understands as including the later flight into Egypt described by Matthew. Now the narrative turns to the familiar scene in Matthew, the sages, Herod, and the star, but on a very different calendar from the traditional nativity scenes. Rude emphasizes that Matthew clearly states the astronomers arrive after the birth, not on the same night as the manger. Using conjunction data and the retrograde motion of Jupiter, he places their arrival in Jerusalem in December of the year 2 before Christ. He argues that Matthew provides astronomically precise details of the star that stopped over Bethlehem. Jupiter in retrograde motion, observed from Jerusalem, appearing stationary over the region of Bethlehem as the sages make the short journey of about 8 kilometers to the south. That same night, after being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, Joseph is instructed to flee to Egypt. The family departs with the treasure of Daniel, which sustains them during their exile. Knowing now that Jesus was not born in December, to understand the possible connection between biblical events and the celebration of Christmas in the month of December, beyond the adaptation of pagan dates, attention must turn to the final astronomical conjunction, the Star of Bethlehem. If you want to discover how this connection is resolved, stay tuned for the next chapter, part 2 of this incredible adventure to discover the truth behind the women clothed with the sun, Christmas, and the real birth of Jesus. We will look deeper into the potential dates the wise men visited King Jesus and his mother, Miriam, and also we will explore how some pagan myths coming even from Babylon, passing through the Greeks and Romans, made it all the way to present Christmas celebration.